Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining. Welcome to CIB W120 webinar on activating local community infrastructure for disaster resilience, lessons from Indonesia. My name is Krisanti Seneviratne, a coordinator of W120 Commission, and I will be hosting the webinar today. I'm a senior lecturer at Western Sydney University, Australia. I'm joined by Ms. Yashoda Kalutotege, the Commission's Communications Coordinator. Unfortunately, our lead coordinator, Professor Temi Egbelakin, is unable to join us today. As you can see, we have a wonderful panel, and I will be introducing them shortly. With that, I'll start the webinar while formally acknowledging the country. I'm joining from beautiful Parramatta South Campus of Western Sydney University, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past and present. I extend my respect to all Indigenous people and colleagues who are present today. If I quickly draw your attention to the agenda, I will first introduce the speakers and then I'll let the speakers to get the floor and do their presentations. Our first presentation will be delivered by Dr. Husein, and she will present the operational side of infrastructure for disaster resilience. After that, Professor Fauzan will talk over, and his topic will be on the structural capacity of infrastructure. Last but not least, Dr. Nurdin will present the social context related to infrastructure, and you can see there is an interesting integration of three perspectives, which seems very compelling. Each presentation will take about 15 minutes, and after all of the presentation, we'll move to the Q&A session. But if you come across any questions during the presentations, please feel free to post it in the chat, and we will pick it up during the Q&A session. As well as we will invite you to unmute your audio and ask any questions. So just consider this as an informal session, okay? Not a very formal webinar. So after the Q&A session, I'll make an announcement of our next seminar and our special issue journal, and then we'll conclude the webinar for today. Okay, let me introduce our speakers today. The first presenter is Dr. Rahmawati Husein, Ama Husein. Dr. Husein is an assistant professor at Universitas Muhammadiyah. She did her master's and PhD degrees in the United States. Dr. Husein has been working in disaster-related works for almost 20 years. She works as an expert panel of the Muhammadiyah Disaster Management Center and also serves as a chairperson in the same. Since 2016, she has served as an advisory board member of the Indonesian National Disaster Management Agency, Humanitarian Forum Indonesia, and Indonesian Development and Humanitarian Alliance. So that's our first presenter. Our second speaker is Professor Fauzan from Universitas Andalas. He holds a master's degree from the University of Sheffield and a doctoral degree from Toyohashi University of Technology in Japan. His research focuses on structural engineering, earthquake engineering, construction materials, and structural retrofitting. His work includes seismic and tsunami vulnerability assessment of a wide range of buildings, including schools, hospitals, and government offices, as well as the design of retrofitting solutions for structures that do not meet current Indonesian building codes. He's a member of the Disaster Research Center of Universitas Andalas and contributes to the BUILD project, a European Commission funded initiative establishing university-based centers of excellence in disaster resilience across Indonesia. And our third presenter is Dr. Muhammad Nurdin from the International Center for Asia and Indian Ocean Studies, where he works as a senior lecturer currently. He's also a visiting researcher at Asia-Japan Research Institute. His research interests include development anthropology, non-traditional security, humanitarianism, religion and development, and social policy. Dr. Riza holds a PhD in Southeast Asian social inquiry from the University of New South Wales, Australia. He completed his master's degree in Germany and bachelor's degree in Egypt. So welcome you all for the webinar, and I would like to invite Dr. Husein for the first presentation. So Dr. Husein, the floor is yours.
Thank
So
you,
let me
Krisanti.
stop share so that you can share your screen, okay?
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone who joined the webinar. Thank you for having me in a very interesting and also I think it's very important issue, the built environment and the community resilience, because the built environment is attached to how the community resilient. And I want to share the Muhammadiyah experience because Muhammadiyah, one of the larger Muslim organization. For those who doesn't know Muhammadiyah, Muhammadiyah member estimated 50 million throughout Indonesia, like 10 to 15% of population, and Muhammadiyah present in 38 provinces in almost all the district, like 80% of the district in Indonesia. And in regard to built environment, since Muhammadiyah is community, non-profit or non-government organization, we have thousands, yeah, of the built environment in the community, including orphanages, elderly nursery home, and then hospital and clinic. We have throughout Indonesia more than 300 school, university, colleges, more than 10,000 schools. That's all within the Islamic community, since Muhammadiyah is community organization. And as we know that the Indonesia remains top 5 countries in the world, particularly they hit disaster, and the faith-based organization in Indonesia or in the world, based on many studies, has have a long history of responding the people in need, particularly people in the grassroots level in dire situation, or where government sometimes it's not fast enough or could not or fail to provide assistance to them. And also local faith institutions like Muhammadiyah are often among the first responders in disaster, and not only working during disaster, but before, during, and after disaster. So that's why it's very important to understand the context in terms of like how faith institution working in the community.
I think Amma is frozen, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yes, I think.
Amma, can you hear us? Yeah, she's disconnected. Hopefully she will join back. So sorry about that. Please bear with us. If she's taking longer, probably we can go to the second presentation.
Yes, until she joins, we can go to the
Yeah,
next.
I think that would be the best way to manage the time. Professor Fauzan, if you are ready, would you mind?
Okay, 1 minute.
Yep, take your time.
So everyone can see the PowerPoint.
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
see
can
it.
see.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for everyone, wherever you are. Thank you for this opportunity to share the knowledge and our experience in West Sumatra to all experts in the disaster field. My name is Fauzan. I belong to Disaster Study Center in Andalas University, Indonesia, and also professor in the Civil Engineering Department in the Andalas University. So today I would like to explain our research about the optimization of the vertical evacuation structures for tsunami mitigation in response to the mega thrust in West Sumatra. This research was conducted in Pariaman City, what is the potential megatrust in West Sumatra near the Mentawai Island, one of the subduction area in the West Sumatra. And this research collaboration with the government of West Sumatra province, especially the Research and Development Agency. As a background, as we know that the West Sumatra located in the prone area of the earthquake and tsunami in the coastal area, and some residential activities and housing along with the new housing development are increasingly concentrated along the coastal area. And sorry. And the horizontal evacuation access routes are limited. In the range, the width of the road is around 3 to 8 meters. And also travel time to reach the designated safe zone or golden time from the tsunami exceed than 20 minutes. And the number of the evacuation sign is very limited. And residents located far from the design safe zone evacuate using the vehicle, leading to the traffic congestion. And we have many experience after the big earthquakes, around 5 minutes already traffic jams in the road. So that's why one of the best option to evacuate the people from the tsunami, to escape the people from the tsunami using the vertical evacuation, or we call the shelter. But unfortunately, in West Sumatra, no vertical evacuation facilities have yet been designed by the local government. We have some of them, but it's not clear that whether is the resistant or to the tsunami or not, because the designer, the consultant design not consider the tsunami loads when designing the shelter. At the time after the earthquake 2009, the center government order the consultant to design, but the consultant didn't consider the tsunami loads. So actually, our research objective is one is to estimate the population potential affected by the tsunami, and the second to identify community preference in selecting tsunami evacuation alternatives. Third, to determine the need for vertical evacuation facilities and identify place of worship And most of worship in West Sumatra is mosque, or the smaller one is musola, with potential to be developed as the vertical evacuation structures. Fourth, to develop a prototype design of a place of worship as a vertical evacuation for tsunami, along with the tsunami evacuation information system, and to formulate strategic concepts and policy the directions for the integrated structural tsunami disaster mitigation through the provision of the adequate vertical evacuation facilities. So the research is located in the Pariaman city, around 30 kilos from the Padang city. This is our research methodology. We use the quantitative and qualitative approach, and also we use the secondary and primary data. And for the sampling, we use the 402 respondents, consists of the mosque administrator is 200 respondents, neighbor administrator is around 200 respondents, and mosque or prayer rooms, actually all mosque prayer room within the red zones. And the data analysis, we analyze using the statistical, spatial, structural, and architectural design, and also SWOT analysis. This is the result and discussions. The first is number of population potentially affected by a tsunami. So we conducted the survey and also collecting the data, and we can count the amount of people. The total population affected within the tsunami red zone is around 59,420 people. That's the potential population that affected, that located in the red zone. And this is the affected area is around 28.65 kilometers square. Consists of the 4 districts and 49 villages or urban wards. And based on the community preference for the tsunami evacuation alternative, most of people prefer type of evacuation using the horizontal. That's using the horizontal, there is 43.8% and vertical 41.8%. Most respondents still prefer horizontal evacuation, even though the available time is limited and pose significant risk, because they don't know, they never experience when the big earthquake comes, the road will be stuck or will be jammed, and the people cannot move anywhere, because most of the people tend to bring their vehicles, car, motorbikes, when they evacuate to the higher location. And for the vertical evacuation sites, the most of people prefer to choose the mosque or prayer rooms, is around 39.7%. Is the highest number. And the reason for selecting the mosque, because the proximity near to the location is 46.1%. And needs for the vertical evacuation shelter, we assume that the tsunami wave height is around 10 meters, and golden time is around 20 minutes, and walking speed to evacuation site is 1 meter per second. And this is according to the guidelines in FEMA 646/2019. And this is the estimated need for the vertical evacuation shelter to accommodate 46,166 people. And this is the estimated capacity of the horizontal evacuation to safely evacuate around 13,254 people. And we also collect the data for the place of worship and with the development potentials, and we found that totally for the mosque or prayer room or small prayer house is totally 16 units. and we count the area of the land and area of the buildings, and also we total the number of people or a refugee that can go to the mosque when the tsunami occurred. And this is the data that we collect, and we map the data for the all mosque and also count the capacity of the mosque. This is the total is 30 units and the accommodation capacity. And this is our prototype. Actually, we designed the mosque shelters, the mosque that are functional for the shelter, using the concept of the open space. So there is no column in the middle of the building. It's like open space, so the people can come to the building, the mosque shelter, as much as they can occupy. So this is for the first floor of our design, and we can design and construct many storage buildings depend on our needs and depend on the number of people that will occupy the shelter when the tsunami comes. This is our concept, and this concept is for the new shelter, of the mosque. And this is our design for the plan and foundations, and we make the prototype so the people can construct the shelter mosque by themselves. Yeah, it's like the community base, because the governments usually don't have enough budget to construct the shelter, so the people can do by their community. Usually the businessman or the rich man in Jakarta or Surabaya can construct the mosque because they think that if they construct the mosque, they will get reward from the God. That's principle of the religious of the Muslim. And the previous one is the new shelter mosque, but this is the second type. We develop the shelter mosque based in the location of the mosque, existing mosque or existing musola, like this. So this is the stage of the constructions. This is the original or existing mosque. We construct the foundation and also the column, and then we construct the second story, and the people still can do their activity for the prayer or something in the existing mosque. And then we can continue if from the analyze that the height of tsunami around 6 or 5 meter, we can construct only for one story is until 8 meter. So the people can stay here when the tsunami comes. Otherwise, we can increase, this is the RAM that we need as the requirement for the shelter. Yeah, this is the people, the refugee when the tsunami comes. And then we can continue actually if we need 2-story, 3-story, or 4-story buildings. And finally, if we already finished construct the shelter mosque, we can destroy the existing mosque. This is the stage that I explained before. There are 9 stages, And for the price, we already make the prototypes. If the size is 15 times 15, is totally cost is around 9 billion rupiah. Yeah. And for the size of 20 times 20 is around 16 billion rupiah. And for 25 times 25 meters, it's cost around 25 billion rupiah. And this is the capacity for the shelter for the people, depend on the size of the mosque. And also we continue the system, the mitigation of the tsunami by development application using the mobile application, but now is still under construction. We develop that if we come to the locations, we will get the information that in this area there are some shelters, and the near shelters is in this location. So the people can go to the shelter if they are in the location when the tsunami comes. That's the development of our application now. So for the conclusions, the estimated population affected by tsunami reached 49,421 people, and around 64.43% of the total population of the Pariaman city people. And the survey indicated that 43.8% respondents prefer the horizontal evacuation, while 41.8% prefer the vertical evacuations. And this is the reasons why they prefer for the mosque or musola. Actually, the proximity or the location is near from their community. And in Pariaman, totally there are 90 mosque or prayer rooms located in the tsunami red zone that we can develop to be the shelter, and we increase to be the multi-story buildings, including the rooftop using the concrete slab. In this capacity, we can count the capacity of the all mosque, and we can compare with the how many people affected in the red zone area. And this is the design of the tsunami vertical evacuation. We use the standard in Indonesian standard to design it, and also the FEMA standard for the shelter guidelines. And also we developed the tsunami evacuation application design using mobile-based system to provide the GPS-based evacuation navigation and integrated shelter location information. And the integrated structural mitigation strategy and policy direction focus on the construction and retrofitting of the place of worship in the red zone in the standard of multi-story buildings. And this is our recommendations. Our recommendation, we can develop 90 mosque or prayer rooms to be the shelter, and it's easy to get the funding because our culture is we can share to construct the worship or mosque due to the religious reason. And design the place of worship as official vertical evacuations through the local regulation to ensure their legal use during tsunami emergency. And equip the vertical evacuation with the standard safety facility, and conduct the regular community audits, and develop a mobile-based evacuation. This is the other recommendation, including the funding from the government. And this is the forthcoming projects that just already approved by the Australian from DFED. We call the project is Australian Indonesian Partnership for the Disaster Risk Management. This is the community-led preparedness based on the place of worship for megatrust, earthquakes, and tsunami in Indonesia. And we focus not only in the small area, this is for the all West Sumatra. And this is the system that we'll develop. We use the early warning system using the solar cell, and we can put LIDAR sensor to detect the tsunami, the level of the water, and also the CCTV camera to see the level and the movement of the water. And this is the monitoring station, is 20 meters from the shorelines, and this is the operation center around 200 and 300 meters from the monitoring stations, and we connect to the mosque, and we put the siren or the other warning equipment in the mosque. And this is the, for example, that we are now developing in the Padang City. This is the area in the early warning system, and this is for the operating center, and this is the mosque for the sirens and warning equipment. And this is the example of our product. We put in near the beach for the early warning system, and so we can see from the CCTV here for the water in the borderline with the beach, and this is the simulation that we can see the movement of the water in the beach. Yeah. And we can monitor it using the mobile application in our mobile phone. And it's easy. All the people can see when they go to the beach, they can see it's dangerous. So we have to go to the shelter as soon as possible if the warning tsunami comes. I think that's all that my presentations. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Fauzan, for the very informative presentation of your completed research as well as your future research that you're planning to complete. We'll take any questions later on during the Q&A
right.
session. Can I invite Ama again to, resume your presentation, Ama? And you are on mute, Ama.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sorry that I was disconnected. I was still research in Bali, so it's not in my hometown. And I again sharing why built environment and Muhammadiyah is very important because we want to minimize the casualty because Muhammadiyah have 1,000 buildings, range from orphanage, hospitals, schools, university, and mosques like Dr. Professor Fauzan mentioned, because mosque is also the last resort for the during the.
I think again you are on unmute.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I didn't touch anything, but okay. Then I want to continue why faith-based institution like Muhammadiyah is very crucial because we are not working during disaster, but it also prior to disaster and after disaster. And the first 5 years of the unit of Muhammadiyah that dedicated for disaster management, we focus on strengthening capacity for response because we annually responded more than 100 events throughout Indonesia. It's a really busy for Muhammadiyah responding disaster, but we are not only focused on emergency response, we also train for the community resilience through disaster awareness management training, simulation, and volunteer training. But in regard to build a community resilience, especially focusing on the built environment, we have particularly have 4 different programs: safe school program, safe hospital program, since we have many, and also safe mosque program and community resilience program, the village and congregation. So how we do it? The Muhammadiyah try to integrating religious values into disaster mitigation and community resilience, because in Islamic perspective, because in the past or in many situations, people think that we have to accept like disaster is the act of God. There is no initiative, and so we try to do the awareness that initiative or build mitigation, structural mitigation is important, especially in the case of Muhammadiyah, because we have thousands. So we are not going to only waiting reactive, but we need to be proactive to save more people, especially if the disaster happened during the school day or during the mass, and also for the hospital. So it's very important integrating this value. And then the second, since Muhammadiyah is like government at the national level, provincial, and down to the community level, we have to engage with the board of Muhammadiyah and district level and all Muhammadiyah institutions to increase the awareness, the importance of the safe buildings, why the building is important, and how to save the people within the building, either hospital and so on. So this is very important because they are the leader at the community. If we are not engaging them, then it's difficult to increase the resilience of the building. And then adopting resilient program using local knowledge and cultural sensitivity, because Indonesia have so many island and ethnic. So we use the ethnic to approach how to build in different island with the uniqueness. Yeah, for example, using bamboo, wood, and all the material that relate to their uniqueness. And fourth, we try to have the knowledge sharing and replicating the program. Yeah, so it's very important this to ensure the safety of the building. And I want to share for the safe school program. Since 2013 and also includes strengthened in 2019, Ministry of Education of Indonesia have the safe school program that more comprehensive, and Muhammadiyah following the regulation by encouraging primary and secondary education to also strengthening the capacity for safe school program by having or being a presidium of disaster education coalition. This is the KPB, is a network consisting 35 organizations, civil society, the UN, the government, and other partner in Indonesia that focus on advocacy, mainstreaming, and implementation of the disaster risk reduction in the education. From 1,000 school of Muhammadiyah, we only managed in the past 10 years. Still, we are far away from the ideal. We still have like only 427 Muhammadiyah try to do the safe school program throughout Indonesia. And we are in the safe school program, there are 3 pillars. The first pillar is safe learning facilities. It focuses on the identification, prioritization of facilities for repair, retrofit, replacement, and relocation. And many Muhammadiyah schools, they already built by donation, so they are not really have a very safe learning facility. So then we encourage to retrofit the facilities of the school throughout Indonesia. And then the second, the pillar 2 of the safe school program is school safety and educational continuity management. The focus is on developing anticipatory action, then absorbment, yeah, and adaptive transformative capacity, how the SOP work, if things happen, how the school or the student and also the teacher within the building could save themselves, and also we focus on how they know what they do during the hazard event. And then the third pillar is risk reduction and resilient education. It focus on those measures aimed in creating content, processes, and learning opportunity for children, staff, and school community. So this pillar is part of the education safe school program that has been introduced and also mainstream by the government and also all different organization in Indonesia. And the pillar one focusing that I want to consider that also we introduce in the School of Muhammadiyah is to understand the safe site selection, which is not easy in Indonesia because we go up is mountain, we go down is the beaches. So the risk for eruption, the risk for earthquake and tsunami, and also the risk for different type of hazard. Safe site selection is sometimes it's difficult to find. So the only thing that we could save is the building standard and the performance standard that is very important. Like Professor Fauzan mentioned, there is national standard of Indonesia with many times it's not met by all the contractor and builder. And this we encourage within Muhammadiyah institution to recognize or to also consider the disaster resilient building when they build the school, because this is the community led. So sometimes from the central board we cannot reject or we cannot ask not build, but the thing is how at the community level they consider resilient design and also builder training, especially after the disaster happened. We also many times doing the training to ensure that they rebuild in the safe way, and then construction supervision, quality control, remodeling, and retrofit. And the program on safe building between Muhammadiyah University and school, there is a collaboration from assessment to retrofitting, because many schools built on the ground, they don't have the capacity to ensure the safety of the building. In that case, the school collaborate with the School of Engineering or the College of Engineering in Muhammadiyah University to help in assessing the building and also to do the retrofitting. And from the safe school program, we also incorporate the pillar 1 and pillar 2 on the building maintenance, non-structural mitigation and fire safety, and also education and structural safety. We always like educate the people that quake do not kill the people, but bad buildings do. So it is important to raise the awareness to have the safe buildings to ensure the safety of the student, the teacher, and all different in the school and also in other cases. So this is the safe school program that been carried on by Muhammadiyah organization since 2008, I believe, and we only right now we're still working very hard because only 427 schools. And we also work not only the school, we try to encourage the campus, the university also involved in a safe campus and also resilient campus through looking at the structural mitigation, creating safe infrastructure, and non-structural mitigation, implementing disaster reduction, and also emergency preparedness. However, it's not easy. In some university already following that, like in Muhammadiyah University of Yogyakarta, they already have the structural and non-structural mitigation. However, not automatically Muhammadiyah University and the rest of Indonesia following that. So we still campaigning, yeah, to ensure the structural and non-structural mitigation. If they already built, then how they could retrofit, yeah, to ensure that they are prone to either earthquake, tsunami, landslides, or flooding. And we also have the regular conducting evacuation drill using warning system to minimize the casualty because of the non-resistant building. So that's what we do in the campus and school. And we also have the program for Safe Hospital program that we been introduced since 2008. We've been working also supported by the Australian government, yeah, to ensure or enable hospital to continue to function and provide appropriate and sustainable level of healthcare before, during, and following emergencies. Because many hospital in Indonesia is also affected, like in Lombok, the earthquake, the district hospital will collapse, and some are collapsed for the flooding and also tsunami. So it's very important the hospital can not only save the structure, but also can save the community that need it. So to protect physical integrity of hospital building is very important. They need to be structurally sound and will not collapse due to hazard, but they can also save the people that affected by disaster, and to protect health worker, patient, and family, and make hospital safe and resilient for future risks. That we already made in several places. The Safe Hospital program for structural building design, material, local standard, and building code. For non-structural like architectural safety, infrastructure protection, access and physical security, critical section, and equipment and supply. So this three element in Safe Hospital we introduced to Muhammadiyah Hospital, and we in Muhammadiyah led this Safe Hospital program, and we've been also asked to train in many hospital in Indonesia, both the public hospital and also the Christian hospital. We work together to ensure the safe hospital building, and we develop the module and then guideline and all the things that can be used any hospital in Indonesia, especially the type C, D, the one that is not the biggest one, because the type E is more the complex one. So the guidebook for the hospital preparedness has been used everywhere right now, the training model, hospital preparedness, community readiness for emergency and disaster, the standard and guideline, medical health emergency team, guideline for community training, and creating contingency plan and operational plan to add not only the physical, but also all the worker and also community surrounded, the community that live surrounding hospital. And we've been having in Sumatra and Java, in Kalimantan, and also in Sulawesi, including in this area, we try to at least each island we do have the safe hospital, because as Indonesia have so many risks, at least the building could accommodate or could save many people, not only saving life, but the building itself is safe for to be used. So the project is still going right now, but through the replication in many area. And the last program, like what Dr. Fauzan mentioned, is the safe or host of worship, safe mosque program. You see here that I give the example of how in tsunami the biggest mosque is also safe, and this is in Aceh Tamiang. After 20 years, the mosque is also the one who can save the population. So this safe mosque worship program, we try to encourage in Muhammadiyah have more than 10,000 mosques throughout Indonesia. We try to increase the awareness through risk identification, what type of hazard in this area, risk mapping, information on the early warning system and evacuation center, And we try to also encourage the mosque. We are working with the agency of mosque or agency council within Muhammadiyah organization that are responsible for the mosque to ensure the building site, design, material, local standard, and building code, and also education and simulation. We haven't had the real number how many mosques already include, but we try nationally and provincially. We encourage all the mosques right now to participate in the Safe Mosque or the Resilient Mosque program. And what we encourage is how all the building of Muhammadiyah could be sustainable by well designed for reducing risk and enhance recovery. This is one of the architect that helped Muhammadiyah for infrastructure during the program called the Safe Hospital Program. Mr. Engineer Teddy Pun that they creating or they encouraging the sustainable infrastructure and resilient community to natural hazard. Yeah, that's to save more population. And as we know that disaster really is in Indonesia, economic losses for disaster is trillion rupiah. Like in the Muhammadiyah experience, like the earthquake in the city of Jogja for the 20 years we do the anniversary, we experienced 150 building collapse during the earthquake. So it's really the disruptive event, which is resilient infrastructure is important. So we really want that this is the disaster in the world, and we see that Indonesia is almost all red. It's very the occurrence of disaster is not decreasing, yeah, every year. And what we are thinking that built environment for community resilience is ensuring knowing safe place, plan to be safe, and improve safety is important. So we see here the importance of knowledge and skill, securing the space, protect yourself and family and co-worker. So this is important in community resilience, since not many knowing that your site is prone to earthquake, for example. So they built in the fault line, for example, or they built in the watershed river. So it's not safe. Yeah. So knowing safe place, plan to be safe, and improve safety is important. And for the problem, the challenges for non-government organization like Muhammadiyah, there are still the community lack of education and awareness on disaster risk. They said like as long as the build is already established, then it's fine. They do not understand the importance of the safe building. And then the second, the problem, builders are often not trained in disaster resistant construction. So the traditional building habit without technical standard. This is also the challenge because we build like usually we build like this and it's fine, but they don't know or they are not well trained in terms of disaster risk construction. And then the other issue challenge is people focus more on aesthetic or low cost, not the civil building. So they prioritizing short-term need over long-term security. We still need to fight that not only low cost or aesthetic, but safe building is important in the area of a prone hazard like Indonesia. And then the fourth is weak regulatory enforcement. We see that Indonesia has national standard, but the supervision is often weak. Many buildings are constructed without official permit or not being supervised by building inspectors. So these are challenges that we face to ensure the safe building will be prioritized by all community like the mosque and so on. And the other challenges is geographical and environmental condition. Each region has different disaster risk. Is earthquake, flood, landslide, tsunami, eruption, or even some region have multiple risk. Not only eruption, but it's also flood and landslide. So it is difficult to create design that suit all condition. We still need to how to create the design that can fit for all. It's not easy. And then limited land, because the archipelago and density force people to build in vulnerable area. We still need to convince that understanding the site, the location is very important, and how to minimize. And the third one is climate change exacerbate risk. More frequent flooding and extreme weather is also a big challenges in Indonesia. And then the last one is design adaptation are not implemented properly because of local beauty that sometimes ignore safety aspect. So these are the challenges, and the conclusion. We still need to continue the public education, especially in regard of built environment, how the safety is matter, and then strengthening regulation, law enforcement, and supervision in the technical part, and also through the government regulation, and then affordable technological innovation, because they don't want to build the resistant building because it's high cost, or it difficult, yeah, with the limited budget for the community organization like Muhammadiyah at the ground level. So they just build whatever they can build, and it's also the growth building. They sometimes build one story, and then they add after 5 years 2 story. After 3 years, they another add for 3 buildings. So technological innovation is needed to ensure the safety of many buildings, and then community-based approach, how the community organization are very important to be considered, and the approach or participatory building to ensure the engagement, to ensure the participation of community to create the safety building and construction. I think, thank you. I will end with that. And I offer to you, Krisanti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amma. Despite the technical difficulties, you ended up doing a great presentation. Thanks for that. I'm conscious of the time, so I will invite Dr. Nurdin to do his presentation, and then we'll have a few more minutes to take up any questions and to have a discussion.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Krishanti. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me in this very interesting seminar. And yeah, I'm not really into built environment. I'm anthropologist by training, so my topic will be on social capital, faith-based organization, and local resources effectiveness, with also evidence from Indonesia. So I just go quick because of the time, as mentioned. So just for the background, I want to go longer into this, but yeah, we all know that Indonesia is one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world, due to our location within the Ring of Fire. Even as Dr. Alma said, even though still in terms of occurrence, Indonesia is still very much prone to the disasters. On the other hand, Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. Even though this is also in contention, because it was said now that Indonesia is the second after Pakistan. And Indonesia is a secular democratic state in nature, but Islam is a powerful force in the country, and with many flourishing civil society, including faith-based organization, particularly after Suharto era in 1998. As for theoretical framework, I don't want to go further into this because Dr. Amma has briefly mentioned about this. Maybe I just want to add one about social capital, which become one of important driving force behind the speedy or vice versa, the slow process of recovery of the affected communities. And FBOs are unique in terms of social capital formation because they are relatively well resources, they are able to engage, and they have the ability to link with more localities, and also they focus on longer term support in contrast to some particularly quote unquote secular organizations. But scholars have also mentioned that external FBOs, not only for Muslim but also other religion, do not always have the advantage, while working with the communities of their adherents. It means like the Islamic FBOs doesn't have, privilege while working with Muslim communities. I'll go next, and then this is my case study side. My research was on a smaller scale disasters, unlike Prof. Fauzan on mega disasters, particularly tsunami. This is on the 6.2 magnitude earthquake in Gayo on July 2013. So yeah, the disaster have some casualties, which I don't want to read in detail. And my case study area is Jaluk village, which is located in Ketol sub-district, the central Aceh district, where, on the Gayo highland, and we call the people who live there as the Gayonis. So bear in mind that also Aceh overall has been, was affected by conflict, prolonged civil conflict, violent conflict from 1976 until 2005. And then it, to some degree, affect the social capital. I'll go next. So these are some pictures of the community infrastructure. This the school, and the mosque, and also the musalla, which is like the smaller version of the mosque. Okay, so my case study, when I went to that village, because as I said, I'm an anthropologist by training. I didn't mean particularly researching on this organization, the so-called Dompet Duafa or Wallet for the Poor. But when I went there, I found not so many organizations that has been involved in disaster emergency response and also disaster recovery. And Dompet Duafa is the only a few organization that stay in the area after the disasters, and particularly this organization is the only FBO that stay there. So briefly, historic background: it was established in 1994 and arguably the largest Islamic philanthropic organization with 29 chapter across all Indonesia and 167 of service zone, and they have also 29 partner in 22 countries, as we've seen with the flag here, and also 5 overseas branches. And it's quite different with Muhammadiyah, because Muhammadiyah or Nahdlatul Ulama, another large organization, mass-based or member-based organization, but this one is not member-based, but focused largely on on charity or philanthropic organization, where it's focused on social welfare, providing education, health, social culture, economy, including disaster aid. In terms of funding, I think similar to other organizations, it comes mostly from Islamic donation, both voluntary is called sadaqah and obligatory called alms or zakat. Okay, so let's go to findings. So what I found in my research that the important role of the program facilitator as the glue. So in that area, I still find the narratives of conflict, and this external organization, when they come to the village, they were really lower trust of the communities. I still heard the narratives of negative memories about trauma. They talk about the lost family members, burned houses, abandoned cafe land, and also forced displacement. So very little trust, particularly to outsiders. And we are talking actually about the linking social capital, which can be defined as networks of trusting relationship between people who are interacting across explicit, formal, or institutionalized power or authority gradient in society. So there were a few things that this organization, that Dompet Duafa, has done, to develop trust. One is during emergency response, which I think is applicable to other organizations, where they provide, some emergency disaster recovery assistance, like health services, trauma healing, sanitation services, public kitchen, building a temporary mosque, and also training, on how to build earthquake-safe buildings. But, this is only for short term, like 6 months. But after that, they continue the assistance through disaster recovery program, last for 2 to 3 years. And that's why, so how to build trust is challenging at that time. And Dompet Duafa hire a facilitator. His name is Nofendi, but they call nickname Nopen, to live in the village. So to stay in the village and then to serve as quote unquote is a glue or a bridge or a link, between aid providers, who provide financial aid, training, livelihood assistance, and so on. Yeah, and then and aid recipient, which in this case is the villages or the Jaluk villages. And short story, he learned local language, he built the rapport, and then he gained trust from disasters and conflict, from the disaster and conflict affected community. So next is what he did, to how to say, to strengthen the relationship of the community, the so-called bonding social capital. So it's relations between family members, close friends, and neighbors. So in this case, I found it comes, in the form of kinship network and local cultural religious practice, which I will explain later on. And, while these stocks of social capital exist in the community even long before the arrival of this external faith-based organization like Dompet Duafa, but it was very low trust, and then this through the village facilitator, he was able, to utilize kinship network, the majority of one big family put into, how to say, an association or the collective group called Musarafakat. So these are actually the majority are coffee farmers. So they form into a group through, livelihood assistance, and they apply the local practice called Musyawara, which means meeting, and Gotoroyong or the mutual help. And as you see in the picture, how, this is one of the practice of the Musyawara or the meeting, to find the consensus. So this is type of bonding social capital that he has, he's done, how to make the community stronger, and then in the end, the successful implementation of the disaster recovery program. Okay, and then next is the bridging and linking social capital. So linking, is the one that I mentioned about the across, the vertical network. The horizontal network. So this Dompet Duafa through the village facilitator, help the villagers or the farmers to expand their network by connecting them to government institution and also to market. So before the intervention, the farmers used to sell the coffee to local, traders, with, who used also to lend some money, and then as a result, the coffee was sold at lower price. But with this, linking social capital, the organization, help the farmer to have a better income. And then they provide also the new coffee roasting and service, and then it actually helped to developing the bridging social capital, which is, defined as connect members of the group or network to extra-local network crossing ethnic, racial, and religious cleavage. So this new interaction actually occurred between the, this village called Jaluk villages and the neighboring villages, where the neighboring villages come to that village, with social interaction. They buy the coffee, they use the, the roasting service, and so on. So this, additional income actually didn't exist before the disasters. And finally, the Dompet Duafa become a business partner until now, which is how then the show the ability of the faith-based organization in making temporary or emergency assistance to longer term assistance. And if you see the picture on the left side, it is like actually they have a coffee shop, but they have also the website called Madaya, which abbreviated from Maju means develop, and Berdaya means empower, and where they promote the coffee from these farmers. And yeah, I try to connect the build resilient, because this is about the build resilient, and then with social capital. And what I found is very interesting. First, this organization built temporary mass, and which show it understanding on the significance of the community. And I believe also many or all FBOs will do the same. But then what is the more interesting thing is how then the mass was used as a venue for creating social capital through social visit, regular visit, first for Friday prayers. But after that, the social interaction after prayers, or 5-time prayers and Friday prayers, that was very interesting. And that where then the village started develop trust, gain rapport and so on. And also, mass was used for communal activities to perform the gotong royong or the collective work, and also a space for meeting, the one that I showed before, and also for information sharing. For example, if there was an invitation for a meeting, there will be like announced on the mass you see through the speaker. And also the last one is the profit sharing mechanism. These farmers then generate income and they have some profits. And this profit also was, some portion of it, a small portion of it was allocated to the mass. So how then, the community is giving back also to the community, to the community through the assistant, small contribution to building the mass, to rebuild the mass. Okay. So what are the local stuff of social capital? So these are in form of, this is quite similar to Indonesia, partly what call gotong royong, but in Gayo they call it as alang tulung. And then it was initiated through musyawarah. And if you see in the picture, you see how then a village facilitator or the program facilitator in green t-shirt and army pant, he really mingled with all the community. So there was no gap in structural relation or power relation, which that's why I think one of the reason why the community, why the program has become success. So what was the outcome of this? So yeah, so social capital was strengthened, bonding, linking, actually bridging as well. And then in terms of resilient, a better living condition compared to predecessor. And then long-lasting relationship with Dompet Duafa as ad provider. So, and one of the interviewees said that the success of the program actually is not seen from the result, but from our togetherness, which is now stronger than before. And and one of the factor is the positive attitude of the FES representative. But the question, is that always the case? Well, that was not the case. If you read actually my one of my recent paper about that, in another place, that not always the case, because the village facilitator didn't live in the village, didn't stay in the village, and then it affect the social capital. But we can discuss furthermore if we have time, but I'm not sure about it. But if the question is whether this is always the case, not, but most of the case will be in that way. Okay, so as the conclusion, Islamic CSOs, and in this case, particularly Dompet Duafa, demonstrate ability to form or strengthen social capital, leading to speedy recovery and greater resilience after disasters. And then village facilitator or program facilitator play a vital role as intermediary between aid provider and aid recipient as one key factor. And then each community has its own embedded resources, be it religious like mass or cultural like alang tulung or musyawarah, that can be useful in the post-disaster context. And this resource contribute positively to community recovery and resilience. And finally, mass as community infrastructure serve as a crucial element of physical foundation for building resilient social and economic infrastructure in post-disaster and also in post-conflict context. I think I'll stop here. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurdin, and that's really, really interesting. And I can see, the a common thread which is going through all of your three presentations. So with this, I will open the floor for any questions from the audience. Please feel free to, ask any questions. You can unmute your video or raise your hand. We can give you an opportunity.
Hi everyone, this is Rashid.
Hi,
Thanks,
Rashid. Yeah.
very informative, hi, very interesting and very informative questions in presentations indeed, and really good research. I just have it's not a question, but to Professor Fauzan, you gave the three prototypes of designs which you've done so far, and you just gave the estimated cost in the local currency. So I was just wondering what that would be in USD, for example, in dollars, and that leads into the question of the financing for disaster rebuild or disaster. Is there anything which is, I know you mentioned like you're preparing for government funding or something like that towards the end of your presentation, but are there, how are you going, where do you see that going to with financing? It's an ambitious project.
Thanks, Rashid, for the question. Professor Fauzan, would you like to answer that question? Is he here around?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I could not hear at the time because I'm in the stair. So
Rashid basically
yeah,
asked, if you could recall the slides, you shared the cost estimations of
yeah,
different models of the mosque, but the
yeah,
cost was in
yeah.
your
In
local
the rupiah,
currency.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he asked, what would be the values
yeah.
in dollars?
Okay.
And
For
then
the
second
USD,
question was related to your new project and where you will be going. Am I right, Rashid?
Yes, but for this same project, okay, towards the end you mentioned something about financing it and giving proposals to the government. So I just wanted to know where you're going with that. Has something really materialized with such an ambitious project? Because the number is big, the number of mosques which are supposed to be, like strengthened or built from scratch, and it's quite an ambitious project. So have you secured, is it positive, going towards the right side? You have promises for good finance?
okay. Uh, for the first questions, actually, if we compare the cost to the USE, wait a minute. Okay, I cannot share now. For the size of 25 times 25 meter square, it costs for Indonesian rupiah is 25 billion rupiah. But for the USD is around 1.5 million USD. That's the comparison for the currency converter.
Mhm. Could you add anything to the second question?
Yeah,
Rashid
for the
asked.
second question, actually for the budget for the allocation, actually from the government is quite difficult to get to allocate the budget because we also have many disaster in this time. Yeah, for last year we got the hydrometeorology disaster and it costs much, and the governments cannot provide to rehabilitation and reconstruction for 1 year. So it's take around 3 years. So it's difficult for the government to allocate for to build the mosque shelter. So that's why it's better to construct the shelter based on the community. In our religion and in Indonesia, we know as a wakaf. Wakaf means that we give money to the mosque, and so the money can use for anything related with the mosque, including to construct the mosque. That's the only way to construct the mosque shelter in this time. Yeah, I think that's the answer.
Thanks, Prof. Thanks, Prof.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to take long. I know people but I just have another query. Uh, the 25 by 25 you have estimated, that's 625 square meters, right?
Yeah, that's
Area.
right.
And you have
Yeah,
estimated that that should hold up to almost 2,000 people, 1,800, if I recall from your.
What
So
is it?
three people per square meter, which is fine, but um, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So you have estimated three people per square meter, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just those are good empirical rules. Yeah, that's what I'm running after. Thank you very much, Prof. Really
okay,
informative.
yeah,
Really informative. Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But actually, if
thanks.
we follow the FEMA standard, it's one people for 1 meter square. But for Indonesia, because the body is smaller than Europe or American people, so we can use the assumption for the 3 people in meter square. That's
Yeah,
the reason.
I was thinking about that actually.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes. Okay,
That's
that's okay.
that's for the efficiency. Yeah,
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 all right.
yeah.
That's all
Okay.
right. So
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah. Welcome.
Thanks, Rashid, for very meticulous questions. Uh, and I don't know whether Nurdin already left. He said he wanted to leave. Probably he might have. Are there any other questions to any other speakers from the audience? Okay, let me ask a question from Amma. Amma, you mentioned, several pillars, related to different types of buildings like schools, universities, hospitals, the mosque, houses, etc. Can you give us one important pillar? If you are to mention, okay, this is the most important pillar. Are you able to mention the one?
Um, that the I think all the three pillar is very important. So it's like complement to each other. But the building is very important. So I always like when I was asked to give a talk to the Muhammadiyah community, I always say that you donate things to build the mosque, the school, and then in 30 seconds it will be damaged or it will be destroyed by the earthquake. So you have to ensure the safety. It's because not only the building that you really build donation by donation, but importantly, people who be inside the building. So in many occasions I said, although it's all very important, but saving the building is also saving lives. Not only the building itself could sustain, but it's also people who live within the building, like the school, the hospital, the campus, and the mosque. So I believe with this kind of like opening people mind, because like within civil society organization, all building is built by donation. And to it's not easy to build institution or building. So if you are not building safe, and all the donation that you contribute little by little and can make school, can make hospital, it will be gone in 30 seconds because of the earthquake. So that's what I usually convince the community of Muhammadiyah. So you save the building because the building is not easy to be built, because based on donation from the member, which sometimes lasts for 10 years, 15 years. So if you're not building strongly or safely, then the building will be damaged or destroyed. And then the second, not only the building, the people, the person inside it. So both are very important, but I believe building is also the first pillar in terms of like the community, because the casualty is not from the disaster, but the collapsed building. So it is very important to always like do the awareness on the safe building.
Okay.
That
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you. Well, I have so many follow-up questions, but conscious of time, I'll take only one question from Silviana. Silviana, I can see your hand is raised.
Thank you, Prasanti. And thank you for all the speakers for a very insightful presentations. I actually only have one question, which is interesting to me because I'm doing research now regarding the places of worship, which I see present in almost all the presentation today. So this question I want to ask to both Dr. Amma and also Professor Fauzan. I wonder if I believe that you have involved in the community, especially people from the places of worship. While did you ever experience or find any barriers when you try to involve places of worship, which we know the main function is for spiritual function, into disaster risk reduction efforts? If you can share with us what barriers you experience. I mean, maybe in terms of inclusion, equity, because yeah, they have that function as spiritual function. I think that's my question. Thank you, Prasanti.
Fauzan?
Yeah.
Thank you, Bu Silviana. Yeah, actually, I don't have much experience about the barrier, but actually for the people community based in the worship, the place of worship, they will support everything that we do for the disaster. Yeah, when we do the socialization and the simulation about the disaster, especially for the earthquake and tsunami, yeah, they have encouraged. Yeah, they can follow our instructions and and also join with the activity. Yeah, I think that's maybe Bu Silviana can more clear the questions if the answer is not satisfying.
Yeah, I think Nurdin's research is much related to your question, Sylvia. Probably you can get in touch with him for further insights. Yeah, so I'm cautious of the time. Unfortunately, I'll stop the Q&A session from here. So I quickly announce the our next seminar, which will be on leveraging computer vision and artificial intelligence for built environment resilience, presented by Dr. Harold Aquino from Massey University. We will share the seminar details so you can register for that, and we look forward for your attendance. And quick reminder about our journal special issue. If you have any articles, related to any of these broad themes, please consider submitting an article. We are accepting papers till 31st August. And so with that, I am going to conclude the session. But before that, I would like to again say thank you for all of our speakers for wonderful presentations, as well as Silviana for, arranging with the speakers and helping us organizing this event as an active CIB Commission member. And thanks to you, Yashoda, for coordinating the communications. And finally, thank you all for joining and contributing to the webinar. So we look forward to seeing you at the next seminar. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you
Miss
very much.
Santi and
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
teman-teman.
Prasanti. Thank you, Yash.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
everyone.
you, Bu
Thank you,
Silviana.
everyone.
Ya sudah, Bu Rahmawati and Pak Said.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you so much for
everyone.
joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamualaikum.